Hello, everybody. Hi. Welcome to another episode of Takeaway Tip Tuesday. I'm your host, Ramona Remisat, intuitive guidance coach, speaker, and co-author of 2 Amazon bestsellers. And welcome. We are back. And we're back after a long weekend here in Canada. We all just had our Thanksgiving, so I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving to all my Canadian viewers. And it's been a great weekend. And I actually went out into the mountains this weekend with my girlfriends and got in our last hike of the season. And it's kind of what inspired today's topic. So I'm just going to give it a minute or so for everybody to pop in. And while I have you here, though, I just want to share, I want to ask you a question. Now, my purpose is to help you really learn how to tap in, understand, and trust your inner guidance. But let's face it, we all have some stumbling blocks in those areas. So what I would like to know is, where do you struggle the most when it comes to those things? When it comes to either tapping into or understanding or trusting your inner guidance, what is your biggest stumbling block? I would love for you to share that with me here, because I'm going to use this information to really help me shape the content for my retreat that I'm going to be hosting. It's coming up in June 8th to the 10th. Get those dates on your calendar. It's going to be here before you know it. And that whole weekend is going to be dedicated to helping you get clear on all of those areas to really be able to connect with the power within. In fact, that is the title for the retreat, Connect to the Power Within. And so that you can just tune out all of the noise out there and stop having to listen to what everybody else is telling you and be able to make confident and clear decisions with ease. Wouldn't that be lovely, right? So again, if you can share with me what you struggle with most when it comes to tapping into, understanding, or trusting your inner guidance, type that in the chat box below, and I would really appreciate that. You don't have to do it this second, but if you wouldn't mind taking a moment to doing that. So today's topic, as I said, was inspired by this wonderful hike that I had on Saturday. My friends and I went out to Lake Louise in Alberta here, and we did the hike up to the Plains of the Six Glaciers Tea House. And it was a little bit overcast, there was some snow already, but it was beautiful. It was just absolutely spectacular. It's just amazing to be up so high and you look back and you see Lake Louise and it looks this big, and it's that beautiful turquoise water, and in the far distance is the Chateau Lake Louise, which is the gorgeous Fairmont Hotel that borders the lake. And it was just magnificent, and it was so restorative is the word that I want to say, right? When we go into nature, there's something so restorative about it. And that's sort of the topic for today. It's, what do you do when you're feeling like you're lost, you're sort of spinning around, you're stuck, you just don't know where to go from here. So much of our life is dedicated to being in front of a screen or electronics, and we get so much information pushed at us, right, that it can be really confusing to get clear in our own minds about what it is we want. Sometimes that doesn't even get brought up. We don't even think about what we want. We're just immediately in reactive mode of, okay, I got to make a choice here. I have to do something, so let's figure this out. And I hear that a lot. Let's figure this out. That figuring out is coming from your head. It's not coming from within. Right? And that's where we kind of get led down the garden path a little bit, and we get stray, and we can get way off of our path and our purpose, which leads us to feeling lost and stuck, like I said, or spinning around and going, I don't want to do what I've been doing anymore. I need to switch gears here, but where do I go? How do I make this change? And so in order to really get the clarity that you need to make that kind of decision, I highly suggest getting outdoors. And I know it sounds like too easy or too whatever, but there's a lot to be said about this. In Japan, they call it forest bathing, right? There's actually a thing. And it is a way for people to kind of block out all the stuff and the noise in their head and get back to nature, because nature is super healing, right? It's healing, but not only that, the minute you go outside, right, it's like you kind of turn off the busy brain. And when you do that, well, guess what happens? You open yourself up to that flood of beautiful guidance that wants to come in and show you your path and purpose and help you get on it, instead of, being overwhelmed with all the noise, like I said, from what the internet is telling you and what your boss is telling you and what your partner is telling you and what the news is telling you and everything else, right? It's like, stop. How can I reconnect with myself and get my own answers without listening to all this other stuff, right? And that's what nature is so good at. And it doesn't have to mean you get in your car and you drive to the mountains and you go on a hike, although it's wonderful. It could even mean, having lunch outside, have a little picnic, right? Or go outside with your cup of coffee or your cup of tea. And, it could even be as simple as sitting on your front porch or in your backyard, and, even if you can't get to a park or something like that. Right? It doesn't have to be complicated. So even if you work in a busy office environment, can you get outside, go for a walk at lunch, or go sit outside and have your lunch? Now, I know here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're heading into the colder months, right? Especially here in Alberta, we're actually have forecast snow for the next 3 days. Yeah, I don't even want to say that word. So I sure as heck am not willing to go anywhere other than where I have to go when it's minus 35 in the dead of winter. But there are still things that you can do to help you tap into that idea of nature. You can bring in a lot of tropical plants, or you can have water sounds in your environment that you listen to, like a trickling pond or rain or waterfalls or something like that that you listen to that can kind of get you sort of in that space of being outdoors. Look, I have this beautiful forest picture right behind me, and that's one of the reasons, right? This gets me through winter. When I'm in green deprivation, right, and there's like no green lushness to be found, this is what I go to. I love this picture. So, it's things like that, or even, filling up your bathtub with lots of nice salt, sea salt, and soaking in that. It's very detoxifying, and it's like the call of the ocean, right? When you're in the ocean, same thing happens. You turn off your busy brain and that guidance can flood in and show you the direction and share with you your next steps to take. But when we're caught up in the busyness of life, and like I said, in front of screens all the time, it can be very, very difficult to really notice that guidance and to really trust it enough to take an action step with it. So that's why nature is so perfect. It's just great. And try it out. Notice how much more grounded you feel, how centered you feel, how more capable you are of taking on challenges. Things don't seem so big and overwhelming. And, it's like you breathe and then you center yourself and you're like, okay, I can get back at this. I can figure a way out. Even if you're going through a challenge or a problem and you don't see a way out, sometimes all it takes is just getting outside to clear, there's that saying, clear your head, right? It does. It clears away stuff so that that guidance can flow in and you get insights and ahas and epiphanies, and you're like, oh, here's a way to solve this problem. I would have never thought of this before, right? So that's what I'm talking about. So is this helpful? Is this making sense? Feel free to tap on the heart or the thumbs up. Give me some indication and let me know if this is helpful. And it's so available to us, but yet we rarely think of nature as a tool, right, to help us in those moments when we're in the throes of, like I said, a problem or a challenge, or just feeling overwhelmed and not sure where to go from here. And nature is perfectly suited to be able to help us with those things. So today, if you can, take a few minutes and just get outside, even if it's a little bit chilly, that's okay. Bundle up, layer up. That's what fall's for, right? Layer up, get a nice cozy scarf, grab that cup of tea, get your pumpkin spice latte or whatever it is, and head outside and maybe take your pet for a walk if you have one. I'm the crazy cat lady who actually walks her cat, so I'm like, people always give me second looks in the neighborhood. But those kinds of things, right? So again, it doesn't have to be big and complicated, but it can be so helpful. And don't just do it once and kind of put it on the shelf. Really think of this as a technique or a tool that can help you going forward. Each day, expose yourself to some nature. Really, immerse yourself in it. Either if you can't be in it for real, spend some time in front of a beautiful picture or a painting, or something that kind of gives you that feeling. Maybe go back in some photos from a trip that you took and close your eyes and imagine yourself when you were in that place. Maybe it was on this gorgeous beach, or wherever it might be. Maybe it was in the mountains or somewhere that you can really tap into the feelings that that trip evoked for you. That's going to help to lift your vibration and get you out of the feelings of stuckness. And when we are vibrating at a higher rate, which means when we're feeling the emotions of joy, happiness, excitement, gratitude, appreciation, passion, all of those things, we start to send out a signal to the universe that it grabs right onto and just sends back to us more reasons to have all those good feelings, right? So that's what we want to do. We want to be like a satellite emitting that high vibrational frequency so that we can get more of the good stuff. And nature is a great way to do that. Nature is also a great way to hear your guidance. So anytime you're stuck, you're asking your spiritual team for guidance, and you feel like no matter what you're doing, you just can't clearly tune into it, nature is the answer. Nature is going to help you to really get clear on what it is they're trying to tell you. So go for a walk, pose a question, angels, guides, universe, help me with whatever it is, fill in the blank, and notice what you pick up. Is there a feeling? Is there a thought that comes to you? Do you have an idea that pops into your head? Do you suddenly turn and look and see something that's significant? All of that is how they're going to guide you and give you next steps. So that's what I wanted to share with you. That's your takeaway tip for today. And if this is helpful to you, I would love, love, love for you to share it out. Let others in on the secrets that we share here. Not that they're secrets, but share it out. Let's not be, undercover and keeping everything to ourselves. Let's open the doors wide and let everybody enjoy that. And like I said earlier, if you could let me know what it is that you struggle with most when it comes to either tuning into, understanding, or trusting your inner guidance, and share that with me here. Or if you want, you can send me a private message. That's cool too. That would be really helpful because, as I said, that's going to help me to really shape the content for my Connect to the Power Within retreat, June 8th through the 10th. And it's happening in the beautiful, quaint mountainside town of Radium Hot Springs, British Columbia. We are nestled right in the Columbia Valley, surrounded by the mountains. It is gorgeous, and it's going to be a very, very special but very transformative weekend for just a small group of women. I'm not going to make this a big event. It's just going to be a very small group. So thank you so much for joining me here today. And like I said, if this was helpful, share it out and make sure you're back here next Tuesday for another episode of Takeaway Tip Tuesday. Thanks for watching.